to be amidst you today to share few of my uh, thinking and what I have come across in this journey of teaching. All of us here would agree today it's the age of innovation, and there's a need for us to run along with that to make ourselves equipped, to make ourselves comfortable, to give the best out of us. So, this innovation is something which is very much essentially required for all of us to be successful in our profession. Bertrand Russell once said, more important than the curriculum, it is a question of the methods of teaching and the spirit in which teaching is given is where is the flavor. According to him, the method of teaching is to be given priority, and it is most important because that makes a student attentive in a class. Technology will not replace great teachers, but technology in the hands of great teachers can always be transformational. And that is what I believe today all of us are in the pursuit of transforming ourselves and nourishing the success of our students. Confucius once said, I hear and I forget, I see and I believe, and I do and I understand. True to his statement, innovation in teaching methods is an effective approach to make positive changes in students' behavior and attitude towards learning to improve their motivation and engagement. These results of change have got bilateral nature as they can affect students' results and understanding of the educational content and create conditions for an effective learning process. Above all, these methodologies will lead to a learning society in which the creative and intellectual abilities of students will allow them to meet the goals of transformation and development. That is why today we are going to try to understand what are the innovative teaching methods we have in with us, which we can use wisely and help students to be transformed as a responsible citizen. So, all of us are going to embrace change and adaptability as that's the only constant in life. So, the real art of teaching is the art of assisting discovery. Students have to be helped, supported in trying to identify, trying to innovate something new. And that is where what we teach matters the most. Now, what makes an innovative educator? All of us are teaching, all of us are having wide experience and more knowledgeable we are in the field of teaching. And we try to promise ourselves that we give our best to the student. But predominantly, an innovative educator should be creative, should have a flair for collaboration, should have critical thinking skills, should possess good communication, and should have or handle a curriculum which is very challenging. So, if we are a part of all this framework, we call ourselves as an innovative educator. Now, why do we need this innovative teaching methods? Because all of us are prone to this traditional teaching methods. Years together, we have been using that and we are successful also. But the change in today's dimensions of learning, today's technological world, there's a need for modern methods, modern aids which could be used to help students gauge what we are trying to tell, help students to explore what is what in today's world, and try to enable them to reach their destination or destined goals. So why do we need an innovative teaching method is to engage students today, Gen Z or the millennials have a different thought process, have different expectations. So To try to keep them attentive and engage them in the class, we need an innovative teaching tool, and also to promote critical thinking and creativity in their minds. To make them think out of box is also very essential. Motivate them and try to capture their attention in the class, trying to make them remember whatever concepts have been discussed in the class. The need of the hour is the 21st century skills, wherein they need to know what are the technological advancements, updations which happens around us. Preparing students for the future, as future is ever evolving, ever changing, and we are supposed to see to it that we are the leaders for them to climb up successfully in their ventures. And different learning styles above all. We cannot have one unique style. We have to see the learner's capability and ability and understand it. And based on that, we need to evolve a teaching methodology. When we say we are supposed to use innovative methods, why do we want to use this one side from the student's point of view we have discussed? Let us think from a common perspective. To improve the ability to personalize learning, potential for individual progress, we need to understand that all these methodologies are used to create a value, to create a congenial system where everybody is able to enhance the latest evolving technology. Improving student engagement and motivation is a prime focus. Trying to, because we have shifted to online test and like system wherein we try to conduct classes through webinars, through Zoom platforms, through other e-platforms. Whenever we need to use the resources widely, what is available on the web, to reach the people and try to make others understand that we are effective teachers, and also to an extent minimalization of cost when we go for such online or e-resources which can cover presumably a larger population. And today's children are expecting innovation in whatever they get. For all these reasons, we need to have innovative methods in our daily teaching curriculum. To just give you an idea, I think the image is not clear, but still I could tell it for you. We had different types of teaching methods. The traditional one is chalk and talk, lecture, discussion, books. Cognitive teaching was there and still it is existing over a period of time, thinking, discussing, analyzing, and evaluating. Hybrid teaching is face-to-face, online, questionnaire, mixed, and independent. Either it could be any one of those or both. Effective teaching today, we call it as innovative, interactive, constructive, and collaborative. So all these things have to be inbuilt in our teaching process. So with all these parameters into the teaching process, we try to break it as a lecture, a part of a teaching process, lecture, discussion, interaction, problem solving, audio visual, skill based, trying to adopt different languages so that you give personal attention to the student and globally collaborate. So these are something which has evolved over a period of time, which we try to practice in a day-to-day life in our teaching process. So now, teaching methods. Teaching methods generally refers to the principles, pedagogy, and the management strategies which we use for classroom instruction. The choice of teaching method depends on what fits us, our educational philosophy, our classroom environment, the demographic profile of our students, the subjects what we teach, and above all, the institution in which we work and their mission. All these things put together, get into us as a process, and we try to use this could be one fit methodology which we can adopt over a period of time. Generally, teaching theories can be organized, as you see in the slide, into 4 categories on major 2 parameters: a teacher-centered approach and a student-centered approach, a high-tech material versus a low-tech material use. So basically, our teaching system revolves around this. Now, when we talk about innovative teaching methodologies, these strategies don't always mean that we need to introduce something latest or a great actively introducing a new teaching strategy and a method into the classroom. The purpose of such methodologies evolved and used are to improve our academic outcomes and solve real-time problems to promote equitable learning. Now, when we talk about innovative teaching methods, how does innovative teaching methods helps us to be a better teacher or to give our best to the students? When we apply these innovative techniques or strategies in the classroom, it is a task to understand that our teaching methods can be improved. So that's a measuring hour which we can have to know what is our way, what is our style, and where do we stand, and what is the influence out of it. This will help us to understand the need to grow and develop, which is exactly what we ask our students. What is the feedback of my teaching? So, innovative teaching strategies starts with a growth mindset. We need to identify where we are supposed to improve, how best we can invest our time in researching and thinking better strategies to teach our students. We always try to think to create something new or adapt existing methodology. Sometimes we do go for a giant leap and we also fail, but we iterate by doing something and try to create a culture of innovation and creativity in the classrooms that inspires our students to do the same. We also talk about popular innovative teaching strategies that help drive better student outcomes. These strategies often focus on student engagement, as students are our customers and they have to be actively engaged in the learning. That is how we succeed academically. So it's always best to go with the student centric approach, which is very essential and which is very vital in today's technological world. Innovative teaching is a process of proactively introducing new teaching strategies and methods into a classroom. The purpose of trying to understand why there's a need for innovative strategies, as I said earlier, is to improve the academic outcomes and address real problems to promote equitable learning. Now, when we take teacher centered learning, teachers are the main authority figure in a teacher centered instruction model. Students are viewed as empty vessels who passively receive knowledge. It's a monotonous form of interaction, and just a second. It's a monotonous form of instruction, and wherein we make students to listen to us with the end goal of a positive result from testing and assessment. In this style, teaching and assessment are viewed as two separate entities. Student learning is measured thoroughly through a scores test and assessment. So this happens when we follow teacher-centered approach to learning. Now, on the other hand, when we emphasize on student-centered approach to learning, even though still we are an authority figure in a student-centered teaching model, teachers and students play an equally active role in the learning process. So here, in this scenario where we say it is a student-centered approach, the teacher's primary role is to coach and facilitate student learning and overall comprehension of material, and to measure student learning through both formal and informal forms of assessments like group projects, student portfolios, and class participation. And above all these things are done by us on a day-to-day basis to capture the attention of students in the pursuit of learning. In the student-centered classroom, teaching and assessment are connected because students are constantly and continuously measured during teacher instruction. Now, in student-centered approach, when we try to adopt the high technological approach to learning, we try to see what are the latest advancements which have propelled the education sector in the last few decades. As the name suggests, when we say high-tech approach to learning, this high-tech approach to learning utilizes different technology to aid students in the classroom learning. Many educators use computers and tabs in the classroom, and others may use an internet facility to assign a homework. Now, if you see the benefits of an internet in a classroom provides unlimited resources. Teachers may also use the internet in order to connect the students with people from around the world, which enhances and enables collaborative learning. Of course, we shall try to see the different teaching methodologies, what is used in a classroom environment. The flipped classroom. The idea of the flipped classroom, this concept began somewhere in 2000s when teachers started beginning the usage of software that would let them record their live lectures. This was actually started in that sense where the people were using different aids to use their class lectures recorded and which can be shared to the students as and when needed. They were implementing pre-recorded lectures and sharing the idea of what became known as a flipped classroom. Broadly, the flipped classroom label describes the teaching structure that has students watching pre-recorded lessons at home and completing in-class assignments. This was very popular, and even now it is quite widely used methodology where students come prepared, hearing the pre-recorded lectures in the class as opposed to the class and doing homework at home. This, this happens very widely, and all of us are using this system over a period of time. Teachers would implement this flipped classroom model, often film their own instructional videos, but may also use pre-made videos from the online sources, which involves technology, recent advancements in a particular course or a subject, the evolving or emerging dimensions or trends in a particular subject. That helps the students to know what is the latest in that particular field. A key benefit of the flipped classroom model is that it allows for students to work at their own pace if that is how the teacher chooses to implement it. In some cases, the teachers may also assign the same videos to all students, while in others, teachers may choose to allow students to watch new videos as they master the topic. So this can be used as a differentiated approach, wherein based on the learner-centric, we can try to give it as based on the needs of the student. But the flipped classroom models are still mostly based on a teacher's idea of how learning should happen and what information students need, making it more as a teacher-centered technique for the correct teaching process. From a technology perspective, the system hinges on pre-recorded lessons and online activities, meaning that both the students and teachers need a good connection and device that can access it. Now, you have another set of learners in the classroom where technology doesn't play a role, but hands on learning plays a vital role. We call it as kinesthetic learning, wherein it is called tactile learning. That is a second innovative method, which is based on Gardner's multiple intelligence theories, wherein students learn based on the idea of multiple intelligence, requiring students to make, to do, or to create. So, in a kinesthetic learning environment, students perform physical activities rather listen to lectures or watch demonstrations. Obviously, many of us do this. Many of us give students hands-on session, make students thoroughly understand the concept by making them to do it again and again until they experience the flavor of what actually it is. Now, hands-on experiences, drawing, role play, building, and the use of drama, sports are all examples of kinesthetic classroom activities. Through this, it's a great way to attract and retain students and keep them engaged as they're awake all times because they are the prime focus of this particular activity. There is numerous popularity for this theory, but still, this consumes a lot of time as it needs to pay attention to individual learners, and that is why it is not widely adopted or popularized. But still, if the population or the sample is very small, this could be a better choice, which will help the student to understand how to use this session to learn new information or experience new skills so that it is easy for a understanding of the concept. Now, when we try to talk more on student-centered measures, we have something called as inquiry-based learning, where in an inquiry-based learning, student investigates and does hands-on projects where the teacher as a supportive figure provides a guidance and support for students throughout the learning process rather than becoming a sole authority to dictate or to dominate. In this method of instruction, the teacher plays one or the other role where it falls under a student centric approach where students play an active and participatory role in their learning. A teacher facilitates this and helps the process of learning smooth. In an inquiry cycle, every student works on a different topic or a question. In this sort of scenario, it helps the teachers to ask high level questions and make research suggestions about the particular process of learning. At the end of the inquiry cycle, every student is asked to reflect on the experience, what they have learned in the course of learning. This makes it very easy for the student to capture the area of interest and try to indulge in and explore more in the field of particular process. Now, inquiry-based learning can also make great use of technology. This is possible with the available online resources and say global connections, collaborating with other community, trying to not necessarily do it from a place. It could be a remote learning too, wherein students make use of this facility to the maximum. There is another form of learning which we say it as expeditionary learning, which is about, I'll come back to that later, expeditionary learning, which is based on the ideas of an educator, is a form of project-based learning in which students go on an expedition and engage in in-depth study of topics from knowing it from their own communities. This type of expeditionary learning helps students try to solve problems in the real world, ideally in their own words. There are several examples which could really suit this explorational learning as and when, which could be a societal issue which a student is trying to solve by trying to understand it in the real life and make the best use of resources to give a solution to the particular problem. One other innovative form is about personalized learning, which can help, which a teacher can help the student to do it as a self-direction methodology in which they try to master based on their need and the support of the teacher. Students don't require any extension of work or additional skills. Rather, the teacher tries to nurture the student with the 21st century skills, which is essential for a student, and enabling the student to focus on what he or she likes to learn with an frequent assessments so that the independent learning concept is plugged in the field of in the mind of a student. And for this, the teacher should also be interested in the process of trying to know what could be the technology which can be used and what are the methodologies which can be applied. One other innovative techniques which are widely used is called gamification. And gamification comes from the desire to engage students in active learning because today children are more focused or maybe more enjoying the art of learning through game. So gamification has become a huge concept and a hit. Westerners practice it in the day-to-day life of teaching, and Indians we are trying to understand what could be the way we could engage them in the form of a gamification software. There are some softwares which are available, which are priced and available, which can be used, which can enhance the thinking skills and accomplishing a specific task. Because this gamification methodology will enable the students to be problem solvers and that would enhance their soft skill and that encourages them to become a master or have a mastery mindset rather focus on grades and assessment. The student will work on the quest for knowledge in a process of gamification, trying to understand and focus on accomplishing a specific goal, and in that progress they try to earn the credentials over a period of time from the teachers. So this requires actually a lot of work, time and plan from the teacher's point of view. Of course, you have some softwares like 3D Game Lab, Classcraft, which is widely used for gamification, but it is more essential for a teacher to have a hands-on session before they launch such softwares, as this would really try to invoke students' curiosity and critical thinking skills. Jigsaws is again one other learning and innovative method where we try to introduce the opportunity for the students to teach other students. All of us are prone to teaching and we expect the student to listen. When we teach, we also learn. So it enables the student also to teach somebody else, a protege effort. With jigsaws, the students can be divided into different groups, different pieces of information can be given, and students could be asked to learn from what has been given as a piece of information, try to work in a group, try to enhance teamwork, collaboration, and completely come out with the complete information by collaborating with other groups and trying to understand what exactly is the actual question or task given by the teacher. One other form of innovative techniques could be asking open-ended questions. When we say open-ended questions, because students normally, the traditional method is such a way that we try to teach them, we try to be a monologue, we try to provide them with all the materials, and students basically depend on textbooks and answers. They start developing over a time of tendency to understand what is right and what is wrong based on the questions and answers what we give in today's textbooks or materials given. But in this today's technological world, there's a need for conversational skills as we need to make students understand, become empathetic, to know what is the outcome of a particular teaching learning process. When teachers encourage students to ask open-ended questions, there is vibrations in the class conversations. Students feel that their voices are heard and they are capable of expressing what they want to say. One other technique could be peer teaching, project-based learning, integration of technology in learning. When we say peer teaching, it is teaching done by a group of students who are masters in a particular concept, trying to make other students help them, support them, and provide them with independent research topics, creating a confidence in the mindset of students, and that boosts their knowledge level. Blended learning is again one common innovative technology which combines physical and online learning experiences, which gives students more control over the time, place, path, and a pace of instruction. The blended learning is that it provides a traditional classroom experiences as well as integration of online tools and learning opportunities. Even though technology is a key component of blended learning, for students in the real world, the flexibility of blended learning enables the students to have more control over learning methods. Like they can try to have a facility of watching online lectures at home and engage in peer group discussions, collaborative activities, trying to have a conversation with the faculty, and that way they try to expand their knowledge horizon. Feedback helps us to understand where do we stand, and that is also one way of technique. I remember a faculty who used to plan an hour class with 30 minutes of class, 10 minutes of discussion, and 10 minutes of test, and 10 minutes for feedback. So that makes an entire 1 hour more interesting, more captivating, and the students remember what exactly has happened during that particular hour. We have active learning is also a technology which has been used widely, trying to question the students with challenging questions and like emerging trends, kindling their out of box thinking and critical thinking skills to be sharpened. But this expects the students to be more active in the classroom. Even though you adopt, as teachers, we adopt this technology, our students have to be more active and collaborative, and they should have the participative learning coming into this time. We have something called as computational learning. When we say computational learning, that is one emerging learning where it's very powerful and it helps in problem solving. This computational thinking process is very innovative as it breaks down larger problems into smaller ones, like how we say something as like a problem is decomposed into different segments. And they try to understand how these problems are broken down into different ones and what is the correlation behind each and everything, making it sequential and trying to solve. This is more commonly used in the field of computer science, where they try to break down their problem into smaller ones, recognize how these problems can be solved or had been solved in the past, and trying to create an idea how it could be further solved in the days to come with what are the facilities available in the technological world. So this is again an emerging technique which is widely appreciated and popularly used in the field of teaching. And this computational thinking skills can range from writing a particular recipe, or maybe a blog, or maybe a scientific formula, which could be difficult, which can be challenged by somebody else, to understand how this can be broken into simple concepts. So this is actually as a part of, as I said, is a part of computer science and mathematics. It is encouraging children to think out of box, to face the challenges in all the aspects of their curriculum. One another, if I'm saying, if I'm right, one another technique which we can use is about crossover learning, like trying to create, like how we say is about like a tea training or a festival training, creating a demo, a replica of what exactly happens in an organization. The same way we could create maybe a setting which could tell them how learning takes place in an environment, and how it is important for the student to be attentive, how much is essential for the student to learn more, and how such real life examples could be taken as a challenge and analyzed, so that that kindles actually the spark and makes them motivate to learn further. This method is actually, like say for example, asking them to go somewhere, trying to explore a particular area, and come back and give the present their findings, and provide answers for their questions what has been earlier posed. This actually exploits the strength of the environment, and the teacher becomes highly authoritative to gauge, to judge what the student has understood over a period of time, and provides authentic and engaging opportunities for students to learn. So this becomes an experience for multiple things, and the student is able to maybe like use latest technologies, records, linking all the course of actions, whatever has come across the student over a period of time, and helps in diverse learning. And other way is like encouraging argumentation in the class. Students who have a basic understanding of what is the flair for a teacher's role can try to encourage healthy arguments and present contrasting ideas, which will help them to kindle their learning process. It makes technical reasoning public, and teachers are allowed to help them better performers. So there could be meaningful discussions which can happen in classrooms by engaging and encouraging students to ask open-ended questions, restate remarks, and develop or use models to construct explanations. So when all these things happens, students try to have the concept of trying to pose challenging questions, and that thereby increase their intellectual database in their minds. Just give me a minute. So now, having seen, I think, having seen all the innovative strategies and the techniques, whatever we could adopt, what are we going towards it, or how are we going to go? The biggest challenge today for any teacher is capturing each student's attention and conveying ideas effectively enough to create a lasting impression. Ultimately, all of us want this to happen. And the prime focus or the prime motto behind we into the teaching arena is that we want to gauge and capture every student's attention, and we want to give our best, try to make the student attempt understand what exactly we want to translate, so that reminds him for a longer period of time. So how are we going to go about it, how it is going to happen? So now, if you think about the future of innovative teaching, from the traditional teaching styles and methodologies, there's a complete shift. Today, if you see, around 65%, if you take, for example, the country's scenario, 65% of the uh, te- teachers adopt the latest technologies and the digital learning tools to make the class very lively, understandable, and attractive for the students. There's a steady rise among us in using the latest technology, tools, platforms to make our class more lively, more more attentive, more thoughtful, more challenging for the students, so that now the students always remember us and our concepts over a period of time. This famous person, Plato, once he said, "Our need will be the real creator," or as we say today, necessity is the mother of invention. We should introduce innovative teaching strategies into the classroom to create a niche academic practice. Now, that can be done and it is existing. Few of us who are renowned educators, renowned academicians are already practicing this strategy, that we need to try to give them the best innovative practice so that the student is able to engage and understand it better. But today, as I said, it is widely used. There's a need for a constant change. We cannot rely on one innovative strategy and try to use that for a period of time. At least more or less, maybe frequent change in the technology, frequent change in the teaching methodology only will capture the attention of the students. As if, if at all we are going to stick on to one particular model of innovation or one particular methodology of innovation, we would definitely fail in making them understand what we are trying to see. So there's a need for us, a huge need for us to change ourselves, how the world looks, the entire teaching fraternity. We need to apply consciously, judiciously, and wisely the correct innovative method apt, suitable for the particular subject, thinking into different mindsets, trying to understand the different set of learners and try to give them a larger benefit of what we actually want to do. So, as we are going through this journey of trying to be more innovative, we can try creating a pool of data or pool of methodologies which can be used, which can be widely shared, popularly maybe publicized, so that no that becomes a common platform for all of us to use, to utilize, and maybe enhance the feature as we start growing. So it's actually, this would enable an exciting time in a classroom, and it would give especially a different perspective to the student, and help the student to understand the problems they encounter with the real life uh, practice of using technology in classroom. To just give you an idea, because all these things we normally use, like not trying to make a concept of a habit of recalling what we speak, trying to pose a student to summarize what has been taught, trying to create the habit of questioning, trying to connect the dots, trying to comment on a latest topic, trying to find out what is the confusing point, like called as muddiest point, trying to help students to go with the peer review writing, trying to exchange their ideas among them in the classroom, trying to provide a paragraph and asking them to give a title, focused listing, what is that they remember in a period of class, whatever we have taken, and trying to create a memory matrix, which is essential, like concept mapping could be done, trying to help them to understand what are the problems in a particular subject or a topic discussed, and trying asking them to list down each and every one, giving them a set of ideas and asking them to find out what is the gap in between these ideas which could be explored. So all these things basically, these are some techniques which we adopt in our real-time classrooms, which makes our students more vibrant and more understandable. Like say to add a few like 80-20 rule where we try to give them more emphasis on what we have given minimum and what we are able to extract from them. Snowball discussions, topics of different perspectives are given, and students slowly give an idea about it. Trying to go, ask them to go for a field project and try to learn what is that is giving them in a real-time platform. Assertion agreement, trying to come out with positive vibes of a particular topic or thing. Flickers is about giving them different information and asking them which is not suitable. Quizzes to be conducted, role plays. Carousel brainstorming is again one area where you try to pull them, so reverse brainstorming. All those things can happen. Student learn affinity grouping, peer-to-peer learning, and who is together can give them multiple ideas and they do it. So now these are all some techniques, brainstorming tree, all these things will some latest techniques which we use, and I am sure, of course, as teachers, all of us will be using that, and we would be wisely popular and enabling our students to be more competitive and to be very challenged because they need to face the world which is full of challenges. So these are some techniques which can be used, which can be popularized among students, and that could enable the students to be happy with what they understand, give them the confidence that they can also explore and they can also learn better. And that is where we have a sense of appreciation for our own selves that we are able to stand with the wind, give them the best with the help of the technological developments and advancements. As teachers, it is not only our role only to talk or to be a monologue in a classroom. Encourage students' participation actively through all these different methodologies. It's not something, these are not something which is unique and fixed as, or it's a standard one. It could be like, say, a storytelling, or maybe like a questioning methodology, or maybe a case study analysis could be also done. Trying to do a concept mapping, trying to do a pictographic representation, trying to create impressive student videos. All these things will definitely be in their minds forever. And as teachers, we will be remembered always for all the pain and efforts we have taken to give them the best form of teaching methodologies and trying to focus on what best we could give it. And I would leave it to the flow. If at all you have any questions to ask, you are most welcome.